Hello everyone and welcome to this week's commentary. Again, the board that I have selected is from a book that was written by Grandmaster Zhao Xinxin. It is called A Decade of Battles in the A-League. And the match that I have selected today would be between Grandmaster Xu Chao and Grandmaster Lin Hongmin. Now for some background information on Grandmaster Xu Chao. He is from Jiangsu province, and his biggest claim to fame was winning the 2017 Chinese individual Xiangqi championships, where he was crowned the 19th Xiangqi champion in China. And he is one of the finest that Jiangsu has produced, and is a keyboard on the Jiangsu team, which has achieved very favorable and commendable results in the Chinese A-League and other team championships. Grandmaster Xu Chao's opponent was Grandmaster Lin Hongmin, one of the earlier and very well-known grandmasters back in the 1980s. Grandmaster Lin Hongmin was born in 1959, and he originated from Zhenhai in Zhejiang province. He was later sent to Shanghai to develop his Xiangqi skills, and he was lucky to come under the tutelage of the various Xiangqi grandmasters like Hu Ronghua, Xu Tianli, Zhu Yongkang, etc. He is known for his very silky play, and like other Shanghai team players, he is very well versed in the elephant opening and the sandwich horse defense. Grandmaster Lin Hongmin has many titles under his name, and the most notable being one of the keyboards on the Shanghai team that won the 1979, 86, 91 and 94 national team championships. As an individual player, his biggest claim to fame would be winning the 1987 Seven Stars Cup. The Seven Stars Cup was one of the premier international Xiangqi events of its time. Unfortunately, the event is not available now, and Grandmaster Lin Hongmin is still very active in Xiangqi competition, and we can still see him from time to time. Okay, some background information about the match. It was played on the 28th of September in 2005. The venue was in Shanghai, where the Shanghai team were the host team. One of the reasons I've chosen this board was because it was a central cannon versus a single horse defense match, and Black's single horse defense is seldom seen nowadays, and it was quite interesting the way the match went. So without further ado, we shall start with the match. Grandmaster Xu Chao started with the central cannon opening, and Grandmaster Lin Hongmin played h2 plus 3. When h2 plus 3 is played, Black could have the option of playing the sandwich horse defense or the single horse defense, as it was in this case. So as the Shanghai team was well known for its single horse defense, Grandmaster Lin Hongmin, perhaps he felt that Red would have prepared well for his sandwich horse defense and chose to play the single horse opening later on. And usually c8 equals to 6 would be played for the sandwich horse opening, but with r9 plus 1, Black would develop his chariot as a ranked chariot and would be prepared to play r9 equals to 4, so that he could concentrate his pieces on Red's left flank for attack. So Grandmaster Xu Chao continued with a foul chariot, and at this point in time, Grandmaster Xu Chao chose to play p7 plus 1. This would limit the movement of the black horse, and in this situation, it would not be very possible for Black to play h8 plus 7, or the cannon would be lost. So usually Black would continue with the single horse defense and with h8 plus 9. So with h8 h8 plus 9, or storing the horse on the edge file, red's p7 plus 1 would be a direct attack on the horse, on the proper horse that was defending the central pawn. So at this time, Grandmaster Lin Hongmin chose to play the advisor to fortify his central file. Now, in the book, Grandmaster Zhao Xinxin mentioned that using the single horse defense to counter the central cannon is nowadays very rarely seen. This is because the central file would be rather weak and vulnerable to attack by the central cannon. And red had advanced his pawn to the 7th file, showing that he was prepared to attack the file not long after. At this point in time, instead of a4 plus 5, usually r4 plus 3 would be played, and h8 plus 9 would be another option, so that the cannon would be free to move and to move for defense and other purposes. So after pushing p7 plus 1, red continued with the 5-7 cannons, taking aim at black's proper horse. It was a timely move at this point, and because red was attacking the horse at this point in time, black would be forced to play e3 plus 1. Usually one of the elephants would be moved to the center, but at this point in time it would not be viable, because if this were done, black would lose his cannon. So c8 equals to 7 was a timely move. And after e3 plus 1 was played, one might wonder, would it have been possible for black to move his chariot to the riverbank as it is usually seen? According to Grandmaster Zhao Xinxin, this would not be a viable option at this point, because if black did play r4 equals to 3, red will usually counter with p7 plus 1 and then retreat his central cannon. The central cannon would later be traversed to the 7th file, and with two cannons attacking the 7th file, black would be facing the possibility of losing material. Hence, at this point in time, r4 plus 3 to patrol the riverbank would not be a good idea. So Grandmaster Lin Hongmin chose to defend and prevent red from playing p7 plus 1 with e3 plus 1. And red chose to proceed cautiously with a4 plus 5. Would it be possible for red to play h8 plus 9 at this point? If so, if red were indeed to play h8 plus 9, black would be ready to attack with the chariot in this manner, and this would cause red's formation to be destabilized and vulnerable for future attacks by black. So that was why, instead of moving the horse to the edge, red chose to play a4 plus 5 as a prophylactic measure against black's r4 plus 6. So at this point, Grandmaster Lin finished the basic formation of the single horse defense, and red proceeded to move his horse to the edge file, and p9 plus 1 would allow for future development of the edge horse, and red chose to develop his other chariot. So far the moves are okay, and at this point in time, black would finally play r4 plus 3. This would threaten red with h9 plus 8 to attack the red horse, and it's quite a commonly used tactic in Xiangqi. And since the red chariot did not have any good place to move, red decided to advance, so he would not be afraid or have to deal with h9 plus 8. And black continued with a pale corner cannon, and red would start attacking black's rather empty or fragile right flank at this point with I plus 6. Since red had retreated his cannon, black took the opportunity to fortify his central file and stabilize his own defensive formation. As can be seen at this point, which should be about the end of the opening phase, black's biggest weakness would be the edge elephant on the board. However, black cannot play e1 minus 3 at this point, because if black were to do so, e1 minus 3, after making this move, if black continued with e3 plus 5, red would immediately attack with p7 plus 1 to gain material. So this was completely unacceptable for black, and that is why instead of playing e1 minus 3, black chose to play e7 plus 5. So as the match went on, red decided to attack from the central file. And it was at this time that red brought his edge horse into attack, and black chose to alleviate some stress on his right flank by offering a trade of chariots, which red did not accept. So at this point, black would retreat his cannon to the third rank and be prepared to play c1 equals to 3 to attack and place pressure on this file. Red will continue to attack the chariot on the central file, and faced with this threat by red preparing to capture the black chariot, black made a very nice move with c1 equals to 3. Red's attack was slowly materializing and was becoming threatening by the move, by each ply. And this was a nifty counter by black to deal with this situation. So once c1 equals to 3 was played, black would not be willing to red would not be willing to trade chariots, and r7 equals to 6 was played. And it was at this point that black captured the pawn, threatening to deliver a checkmate and also to capture the red chariot on the riverbank. So this forced red to retreat his horse, and black would have resolved red's threat at the moment. And since red was threatening to capture the cannon and black could not capture the elephant as he was protected by the horse now, black retreated his cannon to the riverbank. At this point, would it be wise for black to play h3 plus 2 to threaten the red chariot? So would it be wise to do so? According to Grandmaster Zhao, red would counter with such a move, and black would be put in a dilemma after red decided to attack in this manner, because the horse would now be threatening the chariot again and also to capture the pesky cannon. And if the black chariot would have no place to move on the central file, and it will have to traverse away. But once it traverses away, the central file will become weak again. so black would be thrust into a dilemma. So that was why black decided to play c3 minus 1. So since black played c3 minus 1, red continued to attack with c7 plus 1. This was an interesting position by red, because red was prepared to play c7 equals to 5 on the next move to again attack the central file, especially the black chariot in the central file. So however, Grandmaster Zhao Xinxin felt that this move, although seemingly aggressive, would not have been as straightforward as trading the cannon for the horse instead, because if red were to do so, red would have a significant advantage, and once the elephants were able to be linked, the central cannon would be a very big headache for black to defend against, and the rest of the red pieces will also be ready for attack. So red will have the significant advantage at this point in time, and this was why Grandmaster Zhao felt that simply trading pieces at this moment would have been better than playing c7 plus 1. So as the match went on, black decided to offer a trade of chariots, which red did not want anything to do with. So at this point in time, black countered with a central cannon of his own, and perhaps this was because he was wary of red's c7 equals to 5. However, at this point, black could have considered simplifying the situation by offering another trade of chariots, because the two chariots were simply piling up pressure on black's position. So if black offered a trade of chariots, could red accept? If red accepted, the situation would not be too different from before the trade, but red's pressure on the flanks and on the central file would be greatly lessened. So if red did not accept the trade and chose to play r6 equals to 7, black could simply capture the horse, and red will be in serious trouble, because, for example, if red captured the chariot, black would deliver a check immediately, and black would have many options to continue to attack with. So red would definitely not want anything to do with this, and that is why accepting the trade of material would be better, and offering a trade of chariots would have been perhaps better for black instead of c3 equals to 5. So as the match went on, red decided to attack by advancing his chariot to the elephant's eye, such that the elephants would not be linked, and red will be preparing to take aim at the elephant and capture it whenever the chance arose. And as can be seen at this point in time, red had quite a advantage. The horses were linked at the on the central file, and this horse was prepared to cross the river to attack. So black chose to play e1 plus 3 to deny the red horse from crossing the river, and black countered black countered with e1 plus 3 and red countered with r6 minus 2. And black felt that he had enough and decided to trade cannons so that red's attack on the central file would be lessened. And at this point in time, black continued with e9 minus 7. The main reason for retreating the horse in such a manner was to prepare for black to advance his cannon c6 plus 1, and black signaled that he was prepared to defend against whatever attack that red might have all the way. However, this would not be an ideal strategy. Black could have chosen to be aggressive and counter attack with r2 plus 1. So if r2 plus 1 were played, this variation was given in Grandmaster Zhao Xinxin's book. Red will retreat his cannon, and black would be, after playing ia plus 5, red would be prepared to develop his horse to attack the pawn and the elephants. So at this point in time, if red chose to capture the elephant, red would develop his horse and black would gain material, because if the horse moved, the elephant would capture the cannon, and the cannon was now taking aim at the chariot, so the black horse will still be safe for the moment. So if red did not play c7 plus 4 and chose to attack with r6 equals to 7, red would still develop his edge horse, and red would be able to concentrate 3 of his major pieces on black's relatively empty right flank. This threat will be a very big threat that red cannot ignore. So although it will be a very aggressive situation where both colors were attacking, this situation was not one that red was interested in. So as mentioned before, retreating the horse would not have been as good as playing r2 plus 1 and ia plus 5. So black continued to apply pressure on black's right flank, on the right horse, and red stole a pawn in the process, and together with his superior position, red would have a significant advantage in this current situation. Check. Trade of chariots, and as can be seen at this point in time, red would have a very comfortable position with much room to maneuver, while black's position was rather cramped, and the pawn was now prepared to cross the river to do more damage. There was an interesting comment in Grandmaster Zhao Xinxin's book. He said that on the chessboard, the advantage a player could be classified either as a temporal spatial advantage or material advantage. The position of the red pieces in this situation was extremely good, and the temporal spatial advantage was significant. However, it would be very hard to win alone on the basis of this temporal spatial advantage. That was why red captured the red pawn earlier on, because in this situation, in this standoffish situation, the presence of this extra pawn would become very pronounced, as it was the only piece that could advance without any hindrance from black. And for the time being, black would not be able to deal with the issue of this pawn. So because black was not able to resolve this threat, and because of the temporal spatial or the spatial advantage that red had, black was in serious trouble. So as can be seen, black's position or the arrangement of his pieces was not very ideal. There was not very well coordinated formation like red's defense over here. And since red had charged the pawn and was prepared to cross the river, black continued with h2 plus 4, and the edge pawn crossed the river as planned, and black tried to harass the pawn. And by making this move, Grandmaster Lin Hongmin wanted to move his horse to the palace corner so that he could fortify this intersection. Unfortunately, this was not going to happen. h3 plus 5 to try to charge the horse across the river might have been better, as black would try to mount some form of attack, and it would have been better than waiting patiently here for red to attack and gain advantage. And because this move was made, red immediately showed an acute sense of the board, and before the palace corner, the horse could reach the palace corner, red would choose to attempt a breakthrough at this point. So by targeting the central pawn, even if the black horse moved to the palace corner, red could play r5 equals to 6, and black's position would go from bad to worse. So this was a very nice move by the young grandmaster, and black was forced to advance his pawn, and by doing so, the tiger-headed horse would now be available to attack. And in the recent exchange, as you can be seen, red captured another 2 more pawns, so red would have a 3-to-1 pawn advantage at this point in time. And material wise, red's 1R 1H 1C combination would be considered to be much better than black's 1R 2H combination, and the horses were still very ill positioned and vulnerable to further attacks by red. So at this point in time, red would have a significant advantage and black would be in deep trouble. So black finally managed to get his horse to the palace corner, and red continued to attack. In the match, red decisively captured the elephant. This was a necessary move to make, because once the elephant was captured, black would not be able to form a very staunch defensive formation. If the elephant were allowed to move back, the power of defense of black's full guard would become much more greater than what it would be seen here. So this was a necessary move by red at this point in time. As can be seen, red continued to pile pressure on the black horses, and at this time black continued with r3 equals to 5. One might wonder, could black have captured the pawn to even the pawn advantage? Would this be possible? The answer would be no, because red would move his cannon to the central file, check, and with h3 plus 4, black was ready to capture the black horse. The advisor cannot move, or it will be a check by the red horse. So at this point in time, black will be thrust into a dilemma. If black advanced his king, black would deliver a check, and again red would gain material, and you'll be red's you'll be a check, forcing the advisor to capture the red chariot, while the red horse will capture the black chariot. So it will be red's one cannon one horse combination versus black's one horse one pawn combination. So this will essentially be a winning position or winning situation for red. Then back to this position, if r3 minus 2 were played to protect the horse, red would still force his way to gain material with r5 plus 3. Hence, capturing the pawn would not be a possible option, because if the pawn were captured, red would play c7 equals to 5 to gain material. And black decided to try to trade material at this point, which red adamantly refused. c7 plus 1 was a very nice and nifty move by red in this situation. The effects of this move will be seen very soon. So black continue with r5 equals to 8. This would threaten the elephant, and black would be forced to retreat his chariot. The elephant cannot move to the central file. If it did, red would capture the horse with r6 equals to 4. If it moved to the edge file, the red horse would capture the edge elephant and still threaten with a smothered cannon checkmate. So in whatever instance, black would lose material and be in deeper trouble. So that was why black chose to defend his elephant in this manner. And at this point in time, we can see the importance or the repercussions of black losing his elephant to the pawn just a few plies earlier. So check. And at this point in time, black felt that he had enough and decided to resign. So h9 plus 7 by black for his 25th ply. h9 plus 7 for his 25th ply, as shown here, will be the main reason why black had lost in this game. And reviewing the opening phase, red targeted black's weaknesses on the board very accurately and slowly gained advantage after advantage, and slowly building up his momentum when attacking. And another highlight of this match will be the capturing of the edge pawns by the red chariot to give red the pawn advantage in the game. And one final thing to note about this match would be red capturing the elephant with his pawn, although it would seldom be suggested in actual play. So this was a very nice match by red. In case you were wondering, wouldn't it be okay for black if it captured the red cannon? Okay, just in case you were wondering, what would happen if black captured the black horse? So I used a computer program to work out the moves, and this was what it suggested. Check, and the red pawn will now do its part in the attack. Black would try to trade chariots. Red would advance his pawn forward to threaten to capture the elephant. So, and after making this move, red will be threatening to checkmate with r9 plus 4, and the only way that black could resolve it would be to capture the red pawn. So after sacrificing the black chariot, it will still be a show-win endgame situation for for reds, one one chariot and one horse combination. So that was why Black decided to resign. I hope you have enjoyed this video and this very nice match by Grandmaster Xu Chao and against Grandmaster Lin Hongmin. And if you like my channel, please subscribe, and I thank you for your viewership, and I hope you have a nice week ahead. Thank you.